Astros lost 2 of 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays over the weekend, and it was more of the same from the Astros at the plate. They have scored just over 3 runs a game over their last 17. They're 7-10. In their last 7 games, they've scored just 16 runs. They only have 47 homers since Kyle Tucker got that shin contusion that's kept him out 2+ months. Only 3 lineups in all of baseball have less. It's been bad, Joe, and you're seeing all of the numbers that we saw that were at least top 10 not too long ago starting to drop. Now 10th in OPS, 10th in slugging, 11th in on-base percentage, 13th in runs, 16th in home runs in all of baseball. I understand that Kyle Tucker being out is a big albatross around their neck, but this is unacceptable.
It's just not, and it's not what they're capable of either. Like that's the thing that's weird about this is that they're not just bad, they're terrible. I mean, they're terrible right now. And the more I've thought about it, the more I think I lean that it's a giant funk for this team. You look back to the beginning of the season, like even when the team was really struggling, it was mostly the pitching. And you looked at offensive categories, like, like they were losing all these games. They still led the league in hits. They still were at the top of on-base percentage and all these different things. It was just, they were dreadful with runners in scoring position. And that was really, between that and these disastrous pitching starts, was what was really killing them to start the season. And then everything started to kind of come together, and now the offense has dropped off a cliff once again. Because of what they did at the beginning of the season, where like they led the league in hits, I still believe there's a better offense in here. And so it's a funk, but I don't know if it's an offense that's capable of also winning a World Series or going back to the ALCS.
This offense is not capable of winning a World Series right now. That is for sure.
Yes.
It's just not.
I don't know I don't think it's fair to say that's just because of Kyle Tucker.
No, it's definitely not fair to say it's just because of Kyle Tucker. I mean, they're underachieving. Things could be better, and slumps happen. So you can certainly explain a lot of this away by looking at it through that prism. But ultimately, you're getting all the help you can from a pitching staff that has done more than its share this year. And that's where I'm a little nervous.
So, because do you think the pitching is going to fall apart still?
Look at what they've been doing.
I know.
Spencer Urquidy had 12 strikeouts for you. Are you kidding me? And I get it. The Rays can't hit. They had 41 strikeouts in total as a team over the weekend. Sort of takes a little bit of the excitement of Yusei Kikuchi getting 11 strikeouts on Friday away. But did you expect Kikuchi to do that in his first start? I sure didn't. Did you expect that out of Arrighetti? I didn't. I didn't expect any of what we've seen out of Ronel Blanco this year. I didn't expect what we've seen out of Hunter Brown of late. The starting pitching, despite an ungodly amount of injuries, has actually done enough. The bullpen, of course, has had its many moments of pants poopage this season, but they've even settled down. Is there ever going to come a moment where all of these things align? I mean, that's going to happen if they're going to win the World Series. They could still easily win the American League West because the Mariners keep playing with their food. They're only a game out in the AL West after this weekend and after a start to the second half of the year that has been bad by their standard. The thing that you got to wonder about is, are they going to fall too far away from the Mariners over this coming month, given who they play? It is a tough schedule that is continuing. And with the pitching doing what it's doing, but not getting the run support, what happens when the pitching is a little more human? Which it stands to reason it will be, just based off of odds, off of logic.
Yeah, especially these next 9 games where you play. So you play the Rangers, you play the Red Sox, you play the Rays. Well, 6 of the next 9 games for the Mariners are against the Detroit Tigers. So if they go in there and they just roll over Detroit left and right, then yeah, to what you're saying, it's going to be more challenging because the Mariners are just giving you gifts again. Where at the beginning of the season, when you weren't playing well, they could have ran away with this thing to where you never could have caught them, and they still at one point had a 10-game lead in the division, and you caught them. And now you're playing like this where your offense can't do anything, and they're still playing poor enough to where you're still within striking distance miraculously of this division, and you are good enough to win the division. The pitching, what's hard is because we always believed there was going to be reinforcements coming. That it was even because we were always on the same page, I think, with Arrighetti and Blanco probably wasn't going to be sustainable for the long term of the season, but there was 2 to 3 guys coming back. Well, at this point, we can only really bank on Justin Verlander coming back. I don't think we can expect Luis Garcia to come back, and we know McCullers is not. Is the offense fixable without it? Maybe. Without Tucker, maybe. And not to where...
No, it's not. It's not. They have to have Tucker back. I am convinced they need to have Tucker back now. But now my question is, okay, well, with Tucker back, what are they? Because of the way that they're playing right now. I mean, you take a look at the top of the order. The top of the order is stacked, at least from a names perspective. Bregman's been hitting better of late. Maybe not of late, but I mean, the last couple of months, he has definitely gone back to the Alex Bregman that we know. He at least smoked the ball a couple of times yesterday. And once again, the Astros have been getting some bad luck with the exit velo on some of these balls that they've been hitting. But, with Altuve, with Bregman, with Jordan, and with what Yainer's done, which is also probably playing above what his actual level is. I mean, you add Kyle Tucker back to that, you feel really good about it. And you think that Jeremy Pena is going to figure it out eventually. But, I mean, the bottom of the order, is it really dragging it down that much?
No.
Is it that bad? Myers, not good of late. Dubon, not good of late. There's a lot. Chas McCormick, not good at all this year. Are 3 struggling hitters enough to pull down a lineup that has this many names in it? It shouldn't be. They're still top 5 in hits. Still top 5 in batting average. And yet, all the slugging and stuff is down. And I do not know what the problem is on that front, other than they're just not getting the job done. And yep, it's a marathon, not a sprint, blah, 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 all that stuff. I see the Twitch doing this every single day, where it's whenever we criticize the offense, like, it's a long season, it's a long season. Shut up, okay? Shut up. Yes, it's a long season. What do you want us to do? Show up and say, well, no, they're not hitting today. All right, well, that's the end of the show. That's been Galan and George on a Monday. I would love to do that. But you can't always be calm while your kitchen's on fire. You can't. Sometimes you get a fire extinguisher. Sometimes you call 911. Are we calling for either of those things right now? No. What we're saying is, this is bad. Why? I don't know. It can't be just Kyle Tucker, and it's annoying that you stabbed your pitchers in the back this weekend by not doing enough at the plate.
Well, because that's why I think it is the top of the order. I'm not going to, the bottom of the order, yes, a little support from them would be nice. When the Astros took that 10-game deficit from that to 0, and they caught back up in the American League West, and they got back above 500, and they took over first place for the first time this season, it was the bottom of the order. That was a huge part of that. But this weekend is a great example of where if your best players were just capable of hitting the baseball more consistently over this stretch, you win 2 out of 3 games this weekend, and you're tied for the division. And yes, it's not the end of the world that you're not. That's all fair. It's a long season. There's a lot to go. But when Yordan Alvarez has gone a month plus now without hitting a home run, and Kyle Tucker hasn't played in 3 months, and Yainer Diaz, while his adjustments have been great for him, he's completely removed the home run from his arsenal. And it's getting him on base, but no one can move him anywhere. Jordan's 8 for 22 in the last 6 games. That's great. Yainer Diaz is great. But they're not doing anything with it. And that's where the Astros made a mistake by not acquiring something at the deadline. They should have acquired a bat. And you didn't have to acquire Yandy Diaz. And I know Dana Brown went on the Astros flagship and he tried to pander this nonsense about how everyone's upset about the Astros trade and now the prospects they gave up for the Blue Jays. And well, they would have had to get up even more first baseman. Wrong. Lie. You didn't have to do that. All you had to do was get an above replacement player for John Singleton, for Chas McCormick, for Jake Myers. They chose not to do that. Instead, they called up Pedro Leon, who might be a good player. He's also been in the minors for 4 years, when they could have upgraded this team. I'm not saying adding a first baseman would have solved all your problems, but Dana Brown said that this is good enough. And if the Astros miss the playoffs and the lineup is a huge part of it, then it's Dana Brown's fault. Plain and simple. He chose not to improve this team. You couldn't have acquired a first baseman that's better than John Singleton.
I don't know if it's all Dana's fault, though. I'm not going to go there. I feel like he was hamstrung in what he could do because they have one, some limitations to the farm system because of trades that they've made the last couple of years that I feel like were mandated by ownership.
That's true. That's true.
So
Front office fault.
And those contracts that he came in, I mean, you might feel a little bit better about this Astros team right now. Say you were able to sign some of the guys that I guess you weren't willing to meet the demands of. You would have been able to do it if you didn't make those deals happen. If you didn't have a Jose Abreu deal on the book, or you didn't have a Rafael Montero deal on the book, or Lance McCullers deal on the book. I mean, that's that to go further back. There are some contracts here which are really limiting your ability to bring in guys like, I say, a Blake Snell who just threw a no-hitter. Congratulations to Blake Snell. The haters are never going to call you out again.
That was a weird.
You see this clip? We actually have this. I know we haven't. I didn't call for it coming into the segment, Sean, but Blake Snell, pitcher for the San Francisco Giants, threw a no-hitter. This is the guy who regularly pitches like 4 2/3 innings and walks a lot of guys. And look, okay, strikeout numbers are pretty good. Like, I mean, we would obviously love if the Astros had him right now, just given the lack of depth that they have from a pitching perspective. But I guess throwing one no-hitter means that all the haters were wrong all this time.
So,
How would you describe how you were feeling? I mean, it's the first time you've pitched into the 9th inning, and it's a no-hitter.
they can't say it anymore. Complete game, shutout, no hitter, leave me alone. But he doesn't go to 9, doesn't go to 8. How good that feels? Just did it. Leave me alone.
I mean,
Wouldn't that be great if you could just do that?
for like everything.
Right. Like if you have one start that's good in the majors and you can just say,
Yeah.
just leave me alone.
But that'd be like me being like, yeah, at one point I weighed like 170 pounds. It was like a decade ago, but like not fat. I don't have to work for it now. I don't have to try to go to the gym to lose weight. But at one point, I had it once. That's a weird take to even have about yourself. Just be like, yep, did it once, can't say nothing anymore.
He deserves credit for the no-hitter. No-hitters are impressive.
Yeah.
Especially considering how this season started for him. But it's a weird, like, all the haters were saying I couldn't pitch 9 innings. Well, yeah, because you didn't. Like, you barely threw 6 innings, dude.
You did it once.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's you never do it. So why would we think you would do it? It makes no sense to be like, Blake Snell, what a horse. What a last of a dying breed. Take the ball. He'll never give it up. And it's like, no, that's not how he's played his 7-year baseball career.
Now, while we make fun of him, I mean, he's been lights out the last 2 starts.
Sure.
And I mean, he's better than everyone on the Astros pitching staff right now.
2 starts.
Well, I mean, over the 2 starts, though.
No, but we would have been bitching and freaking out the first 7 terrible starts that he had, and then when he went on the IL. Like, we would have been freaking out.
But the good thing is, I mean, with how bad the Astros bullpen was, would we have been? Because the Astros bullpen would have made these games even worse at the first couple of months of the season. It feels like by the time Blake Snell figured it out, like the Astros bullpen wouldn't be there to throw it all away.
It's true. I do think this is.
They'd also be paying him like $30 million.
Yeah, that's true. People would be upset about that.
You might still have Jose Abreu on your team. You're probably not cutting guys left and right.
It's like the butterfly effect. If you sign Blake Snell,
everything would have been perfect.
Jose Abreu still on
everything would have been perfect.
Oh, okay. This definitely does feel like a response to his Twitter mentions. Unless he is just actively listening to sports radio all over Tampa Bay and San Francisco and San Diego.
If you're an athlete, nothing good comes from going on Twitter or on any social media or listening to sports radio. Now, we encourage them to listen to sports radio. We do. You need to be entertained.
Especially if you have a Nielsen box.
If you're
an MLB player with a Nielsen box.
Got to supplement that 7-figure salary
With
or
that
something.
extra $20 a month or whatever it is.
Yes.
Hey, that's the only way we can tell who's listening.
So you can have a pager attached to your belt that doesn't work when you're listening via Bluetooth headphones because the cartel.
Yep.
But Blake Snell's pitching well, and the Astros starters are pitching well. The offense has been diddly poo, though, of late, and I wonder when it's going to turn around because Kyle Tucker alone does not seem like the kind of thing that's going to help the Astros have an offense that's only better than the White Sox. That's where they're at right now.